Welcome to Constitutional Truth. I'm your host, Shar. Today we're going to be doing a special show dealing with our regional issues here in Abilene, Texas. The title of the show is Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, or How Abilene Government Failed to Execute the Plan. A very good mathematician or economist who was also a great French philosopher by the name of Frederick Bastiat, wrote a book or pamphlet, if you will. It's really quite short and very easy to read. Has been translated into the English by the name of The Law. Everyone needs to read it. Everyone needs to share it with their government officials, if you will. I prefer government servants. But here's a quote from it. If the natural tendencies of mankind are so bad that it is not safe to permit people to be free, how is it that the tendencies of these organizers are always good? These organizers being those in government. Do not the legislators and their appointed agents also belong to the human race? Or do they believe that they themselves are made of a finer clay than the rest of mankind? And I put this here at the beginning because lately we here in Abilene have been dealing with a few members of our government who speak to us in a rather condescending manner so as to make us all believe that they may believe that they're made of a finer clay than the rest of us and that they know much, much better than we do. As many of you know, here in Abilene and probably outside of Abilene and probably even outside of the state of Texas, we've all been freezing for a while. Things are getting better. We're thawing. But we here in Abilene had our water disconnected because of a failure, what we thought was a failure to plan, turns out after doing some investigation, a failure to execute the plan. There was a plan. We have members in our local government who just do not wish to abide by the desires of the community, the taxpayers, the voters, and only wish to do that which they and their wealthy cohorts think is best for us. They wish to gamble. And in some cases, in the most literal sense, with taxpayer funds, future taxpayer funds, and other things. And in this most recent case, they've gambled with our money and lives. So let's meet our local government. Here we have Mr. Anthony Williams. He is our mayor. This is taken directly from the city website for the City of Abilene. Notice his goals for Abilene is to continue efforts to conserve water usage and look to secure further sources, create a more friendly city hall, develop better communication between city government and its citizens, promote equality and opportunity for all the people in the community, to bring people together and look at things from a holistic point of view, to grow Abilene by creating a larger economy and a smaller city government. I'll leave y'all to ponder on that. Here's our city manager, Mr. Robert Hanna. He's the one that is paid the most. I decided this time not to include the screenshots from our city charter. I thought maybe I could just do a whole session on our city charter, which for whatever reason the City of Abilene chooses not to link on the city website. It's kind of like the federal government not providing a link to the U.S. Constitution, or the state of Texas not providing a link to the Texas Constitution. The city charter is essentially the document that lists how our city is to be governed, but city doesn't want people to know how to find it. I found it. I share it. I have it saved. When people ask, I point them to it. So here's our city manager, Robert Hanna, and everything that's listed here is in keeping with what's on our city charter, which is why I chose not to add those pages to it. Okay. But this man is paid more than $250,000 annually to do his job. He hires the city attorney, municipal court judge, city secretary. Okay, he appoints those people with approval of the city council. But understand that that's basically a rubber stamp. If he brings somebody forward for these positions, the city council will just say, "Yes, Mr. Hanna. Whatever you says, Mr. Hanna." And then anybody else is hired and is responsible to the city manager. And that includes the people here, Mr. Cantu and Mr. Lester, who are part of the City of Abilene's Emergency Management Department. Yes, you probably didn't know. Maybe you did. I don't know. But yes, the City of Abilene has an emergency management team. Cantu is the emergency management coordinator. In 2019, I believe his salary was just under 70K. I didn't bother to look up Mr. Lester's. He's the deputy emergency management coordinator. The emergency operations plan, okay, we'll get to that in just a moment here, but you can read about that on your own. You're free to pause this video at any time to read what's up here. The emergency management coordinator is the mayor and the county judge. The city mayor is the emergency management coordinator per Texas law. Okay? Here we have, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, so on and so forth. There to reach out to Mr. Cantu for whatever plans they may have or whatnot. There's the list of documents. You'll see here the vast majority of these documents are either the hazard analysis for Abilene, a deaf and hard of hearing guide, an emergency action checklist, a supply list, FEMA list, how to shelter in place, a list in Spanish, a checklist, if you will, for preparing your family documents for an emergency. And then it's the same list, but at the very bottom, the West Central Texas Council of Governments Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan Update. This is the gold, okay? This is what's important here. Notice it doesn't say emergency management plan. It says regional hazard mitigation plan. It's the same thing, different words, different language. So let's look at the plan. And I put update in parentheses because it's a plan that was established whenever it was established with the assistance of the West Central Texas Council of Governments. And it says regional because it talks about the participants in Planning Area 1, Taylor County, City of Abilene, Buffalo Gap, Lawn, Merkel, Trent, Tuscola, Ty, and the West Central Texas Council of Governments all working together. Notice down there it says draft July 2018. This is what we've been given to work with as a community. This is what we're allowed to see. Okay? It's 455 pages long. I've decided to go and scan through it and look for those portions of it that were necessary and essential or relatable to this most recent winter storm. Okay, because that's how it's titled within the document itself, winter storms. There's, I want to say, 15 or so different types of natural disasters or something, excuse me, that are discussed, or risks, okay, hazards, what have you. But it breaks it down into background, scope, purpose, authority, summary of sections, and so forth. I highlighted some things, underlined some things. Again, you're free to stop this video at any time and read all of it, just the highlighted portions. But West Central Texas County of Governments is committed to creating a disaster-resistant area in West Central Texas. In 2004, the West Central Texas Council of Governments facilitated development of a hazard mitigation action plan approved by the Federal Emergency Management Agency entitled Developing Risk-Adverse Strategies for a More Disaster-Resistant Region. Okay, so that gives you the history here, and that's why it's an update. Then in 2012, information about the planning area and hazard events were updated and incorporated into the HMAP update titled Hazard Mitigation Plan Update, and so on and so forth. And they hired a consulting group called H2O Partners. Consistent with this vision, WCTCOG took the lead in sponsoring the development of a comprehensive regional hazard mitigation plan update or plan update for the participating counties, cities, and towns. The Disaster Mitigation Act requires that hazard mitigation plans be reviewed and revised every 5 years to maintain eligibility for hazard mitigation assistance grant funding. Since FEMA originally approved this plan in 2006 and then approved an update in 2012, the WCT began the process of developing an HMAP update in order to maintain eligibility for grant funding within that 5-year window. The WCTCOG selected the consultant team of H2O Partners, Inc. to write and develop the regional HMAP update 2018 hereinafter titled and blah, blah, blah. Okay. This portion is included so that you understand that this was not just some slapped together hapdash or slapdash haphazard thing that some high school senior or college student threw together. This was put together through our West Central Texas Council of Governments. If you do not know who these people are, they have an office over off of the Loop near where the Blue Cross and Blue Shield offices are. They work with the City of Abilene and other governments very closely for all sorts of different things. They are partially funded by the state of Texas, and they have a purpose. The table 1-1 tells you the participating jurisdictions by planning area. Planning area 1, of course, is Taylor County and all the cities I mentioned before, and there's other planning areas. So these are all the places out here that are included in this West Central Texas Council of Governments. And then we have introduction. I highlighted again some places that are important. While it is impossible to prevent an event from occurring, the effect from many hazards to people and property can be lessened. This was important to me when you consider what we went through recently with being told that we couldn't avoid the water going off, the electric going off for the water. We had redundancy with the 3 plants being on 2 different this and 6 different that and blah, blah, blah. And even if the director of the water department does go to the city council and request backup generators, they won't approve it and all this other kind of mess. Well, we'll get to that because it's actually in the plan. So how the mayor and Mr. Cantu and Mr. Lester and Mr. Hanna were unaware of this will have to be answered and is just beyond any comprehension. And frankly, I'm absolutely livid about it because they are lying to us. Mr. Hanna is lying, lying to us. Hazard mitigation activities are an investment in a community's safety and sustainability. I don't think a hotel downtown for conventions, especially, after what we just went through in 2020, and we see the WHO, the NATO member countries, our own Congress, major corporations, and everyone else holding meetings through electronic means, I don't see how we're going to have conventions coming to Abilene anytime soon. But we sure as hell have a hotel going up, don't we? And Mr. Hanna sure as hell insisted that we needed to invest $4 million of our taxes that y'all paid, to assist in building that damned boondoggle downtown on land owned by the city that could have and should have been sold to private investors to do with whatever they chose. But no, because the state was offering some ridiculous kickback scheme that he failed to tell any of us the state could turn around and withdraw at any time, because it's not a permanent program, mind you. He forgot to tell us that, didn't he? But not all of us are ignorant and don't go and read bills and laws and programs and stuff. No, he just kept keeping everything private and executive session and doing all this other kind of stuff, and would go on television tell us how stupid we were and how ignorant we were and how we failed to look toward the future. Well, the future's here, Mr. Hanna. Who's going to fill that hotel at $200 a night? Instead, when we fail to meet the rules under that program by the state, we taxpayers are going to be on the hook to make up the difference. In the meantime, we're going to be on the hook to fix all the busted pipes around town as well. And our own pipes. Are you going to give us a break on our property taxes? Not likely. The goal of the plan update is to minimize or eliminate long-term risk to human life and property from known hazards by identifying and implementing cost-effective hazard mitigation actions. Upon a review of the full range of natural hazards suggested under FEMA planning guidance, Planning Area 1 identified 12 natural hazards that are addressed in the Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Of the hazards identified, 11 natural and 1 quasi-technological hazard, dam failure, were identified as significant as shown in Table 4-1. The hazards were identified through input from planning team members and a review of the current 2013 State of Texas Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Readily available online information, blah, blah, yada, yada, so on and so forth. So I was incorrect. I was confusing the number of sections in this 455-page document with how many hazards. So here we have the variety of hazards: extreme heat, hail, lightning, thunderstorm wind, tornado, winter storm, drought, flood, earthquake, expansive soils, wildfire, and dam failure. On the right, you will see Table 4.3 and 4.4. The probability and the description or frequency, okay? If something is highly likely, the event is probable in the next year. And this is important that you understand this table. Feel free to refer back to it. A link to this document will be included in the description. And then potential severity, from substantial to limited, and the description for that. So then I jump forward to Section 13, winter storms. A severe winter storm event is identified as a storm with snow, ice, or freezing rain This type of storm can cause significant problems for area residents. Winter storms are associated with freezing or frozen precipitation, such as freezing rain, sleet, snow, and the combined effects of winter precipitation and strong winds. Wind chill is a function of temperature and wind. Low wind chill is a product of high winds and freezing temperatures. We dealt with all of that recently, didn't we? And then we have types of winter storms here. Historical occurrences is really important because Mr. Hanna kept going on and on and on about how this most recent storm was a historical event and had last been seen in the late 1800s and this and that and the other thing. Perhaps he was partially correct in that across the entire state of Texas or with the depth of the cold or what have you. But Table 13-3, which is upcoming, shows historical occurrences for Planning Area 1 from 96 through 2017, provided by the NCEI database. There have been 49 recorded winter storm events in the planning area. Historical winter storm information as provided by the NCEI identifies winter storm activity across a multi-county forecast area for each event. The appropriate percentage of the total property and crop damage reported for the entire forecast area has been allocated to each county impacted by the event. Historical winter storm data for the county, all participating jurisdictions, and the West Central Texas County of Governments are provided on a county-wide basis per the NCEI database. Table 13-3 shows historical incident information for the planning area. Only those events that have reported death, injuries, or property crop damage are reported below. And here we are. (2000, 2003, 2004, 2007, and 2017. We've had deaths, property damage, but no crop damage. And we've had injuries. I apologize. Based on the list of historical winter storm events for Planning Area 1 listed above, including West Texas, blah, 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 and all participating jurisdictions, 18 events have occurred since the 2012 plan. According to historical records, the planning area experiences approximately 2 to 3 winter storm events per year. Hence, the probability of a winter storm event affecting Planning Area 1, including West Central Texas, is highly likely. The following critical facilities would be vulnerable to winter storm events in each participating jurisdiction. Critical facilities is a very important term to understand because those are things that they try to mitigate having damage to. The City of Abilene, 3 water treatment plants and 3 water supply facilities. Elderly people are at greater risk of death by hypothermia during these events, especially in the rural areas of the county where populations are sparse, icy roads may impede travel, and there are fewer neighbors to check in on the elderly. According to the U.S. CDC, every year hypothermia kills about 600 Americans, half of whom are 65 years of age or older. The greatest risk from a winter storm hazard is to public health and safety. Potential impacts for the planning area may include critical facilities without emergency power may not be operational during power outages. For fuck's sake, it's right here in black and white. This idea that Robert Hanna has that I don't know of any city the size of Abilene that has backup power, and it's so it just doesn't, it costs too much. And the city of Mansfield had backup power generation. The city of San Angelo had backup power generation. The city of Lubbock had backup power generation. I don't understand, Mr. Hanna. How do you not know these things for more than one quarter of $1 million annual salary? Is that not part of your job to know these things? Is that not even your damn degree? The economic and financial impacts of winter weather on the community will depend on the scale of the event, what is damaged, and how quickly repairs to critical components of the economy can be implemented. The level of preparedness and pre-event planning done by businesses and citizens will also contribute to the overall economic and financial conditions in the aftermath of a winter storm event. Most people planned ahead because most people paid attention to the news warnings about, hey, it's going to get cold. Most of us didn't expect to have ERCOT screw with our power. So there wasn't a whole lot we could do about that. But we sure as sugar didn't expect for the city of Abilene to be caught with its pants down and not have backup power generation for the water. Mitigation strategy. This is really important, okay? Because these are goals. At the mitigation workshop in September 2017, planning team members reviewed the mitigation strategy from the previous plan. The consensus among all members present was that the strategy developed for the 2012 plan did not require changes as it identified overall improvements to be sought in the plan update, but the order of the goals has been altered. Goal 1, protect public health and safety. Protect critical facilities and services is objective 1.4. So the primary goal is to protect public health and safety, with objective 1.4 being protect critical facilities and services. I'm pretty sure that of that $4 million invested in that GD hotel, we could have had some backup generation for the water treatment facilities. But what would I know? I'm just an ignorant taxpayer. Goal 2, build and support local capacity and commitment to continuously become less vulnerable to hazards, with objective 2.3 being build hazard mitigation concerns into county planning and budgeting processes. There's that $4 million coming up again. Goal 3, increase public understanding, support, and demand for hazard mitigation. Objective 3.3 being publicize and encourage the adoption of appropriate hazard mitigation measures. I'd say it's time for us to all get loud and show up to those city hall meetings and start demanding. Excuse me. Protect new and existing properties. Objective 4.2, protect existing buildings and public infrastructure from hazards. Y'all, we pay very dearly for the water in Abilene. Abilene sells water to surrounding communities. Those communities that are too small to have their own waterworks. We all pay very dearly for that water. The taxes, the fees, the increased rates, all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that the frontline waterworks folks don't deserve their paychecks, because by God, they do. They're busting behind. And I know that they were dearly frustrated when the power lines went down and they didn't know what the hell to do. I can't imagine when they learn about this, how much more frustrated they're going to be to know that their boss's boss dropped the ball. Goal 5, maximize the resources for investment in hazard mitigation. Maximize the use of outside sources of funding is 5.1. So is anybody in the city doing any grant writing? Maximize insurance coverage to provide financial protection against hazard events. Oh, I'm sure we have plenty of insurance policies. And prioritize mitigation projects based on cost effectiveness and sites facing the greatest threats to life, health, and property. So again, prioritizing mitigation projects. not building downtown hotels, not taking out a bond to build a damn nature walk on a dry creek bed, not beautifying Kirby Lake sports complex. That's not a mitigation. That's wasted funds and undue debt on future Abilenians and taxpayers. No. Mitigation actions as part of the economic evaluation of the Stapley analysis, jurisdictions analyzed each action in terms of the overall costs, measuring whether the potential benefit to be gained outweighed costs associated with it, and then they rated these items as high, moderate, or low in necessity. Anything that's ranked as high indicates that the action will be implemented as soon as funding is received. Now, I'm sure that those people downtown think that funding doesn't mean taxes. They mean federal or state funding. But I'm sorry, no. You're funded by our water bills. So these are the Taylor County-wide actions. Okay, and it includes the city and the county. So some may argue, well, the county should be responsible too. Yes, to a certain extent. Okay. Acquire and install generators with hardwired quick connections at all critical facilities. Now, the reason why I say yes and no is because the county is not directly responsible for the water. And it says county-wide critical facilities, okay? And you'll notice that the hazards addressed and so forth. It also says local funds. This is action item number 2. That one's action item number 3, I believe. Okay, or it may be the same one. I apologize. Okay. Action 3. Yes. Harden or retrofit critical facilities to hazard resistant levels. Now here we have on the right is Abilene's. City of Abilene critical facilities. Acquire and install at all critical facilities. Winter storm. It's a high priority. Estimated cost $1 million. So we could have done it 4 times. Local funds, state and federal grants. City of Abilene Facilities and Capital Improvements Department. Within 12 to 24 months of the plan adoption. What did you see on the first page I showed you highlighted? This plan was adopted in 2018. It is 2021. They've gone well past the 12 to 24 months. Plan maintenance. The sustained hazard mitigation planning process consists of 4 main parts: incorporation, monitoring, and evaluation, updating, continued public involvement. Okay. Feel free to read all of this as you will. Under monitoring, I highlighted the entire paragraph, but I want you to pay close attention here. In addition to the annual monitoring, the plan will be similarly reviewed immediately after extreme weather events, included but not limited to state and federally declared disasters. So expect that we're going to see all of them scrambling to review this plan to see how it worked and if they did what they were supposed to. Okay? We need to make sure that we know when it's going to be done and that we participate as we're able. Actions that have not been implemented will be evaluated to determine if any social, Political or financial barriers are impeding implementation, and if any changes are necessary to improve the viability of an action. I'd say political, yeah, because Robert just doesn't want to do it, and the council won't push back on him. Social, oh yeah, the ACU crowd, they don't give a crap about anybody. Financial barriers, other than us being so far in debt, it's not even funny. The fact that he spends money on stuff that he's not supposed to, brings home a bigger paycheck than he deserves, and as far as I can tell, neither member of the emergency management team has done anything as far as looking for grants to get this stuff done. Yeah, I'd say there are. Then it talks about the 5-year review, all this other kind of stuff. And then here I wanted to just show you the planning team. City of Abilene. It includes the city secretary, deputy emergency management coordinator, the emergency management coordinator, and the mayor. Now, why do I keep putting so much pressure on the city manager, Robert Hanna? It is because of our form of government being a manager council form of government. It's meant to be a co-equal type of deal where the city council and the city manager work together with equal authority, and that's on paper though. In practice, the city manager does everything, the city council rubber stamps it, and the rest of us just think that the mayor runs the show, and that's not true. So, how Abilene government failed to execute the plan, I think I've laid it out pretty good. Again, by all means, pause, go through, pause the video, read those pages. The link to the emergency management plan will be in the description. If you appreciate the information that I presented in this video, by all means, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please hit like, or if you don't like it, hit thumbs down. I don't care either way. Comment on the video. Share this video. It needs to get out. I don't expect that our local news will do much on covering this. Attend our local city council meetings. We have got to hold these people responsible. We have got to let them know that they are not going to continue to pull the wool over our eyes and act as though they have done everything that they are, quote, legally required, end quote, to do. No, they are legally required to do what they say they're going to do when they put it on paper. This is a state thing. This plan has to be approved by the Texas Department of Emergency Management, and I do believe that FEMA goes behind and approves it from there. So this is not just some we write a plan and keep it in house. No, this has to go through layers and layers of approval, and it affects all of us. And we pay them. We pay them to have a government. The only thing that they produce money on is that Department of Water. That's it. That's their only business. And we pay for that water. And we were denied that water. And many of y'all have broken pipes that you're going to be responsible for repairing and still have to pay your property taxes because they're not going to cut you a break on that. They're going to sit there and whine and cry and bust into tears about, but we got to fix our water pipes. It's stupid. None of this should have happened. None of this would have happened if they had planned ahead and done what they said on paper they were going to do back in 2018. None of it. When you attend these city council meetings, sign up to speak during the open comment period. Okay, I know it feels like an exercise in futility because those assholes sit up there on that dice and they're not required to answer you. So all you're doing is speaking into the wind. Okay, but do it anyway because your fellow Abilenians need to hear it. And it will give them courage to speak. Write actual letters. Emails and phone calls are useless. Write a paper letter to these morons and let them know that you will primary their backsides right up out of those seats. I know it feels like that we can't get them out because of the ACU crowd, but we have got to get beyond this. Well, I recognize Kyle McAllister's face, but I don't know that person that's running against them. Never heard of them. What experience do they have? At the local level, what experience do you expect them to have? I mean, get real. This is where you start quote, experience in government is at the local level. If you want somebody that used to work in DC to come and run for local politics, you're an idiot. We've got to drain our local swamps, or we're never going to get control of our government again, and we're going to end up like China. We're halfway there anyway. These people are not our rulers. They're not our leaders, okay? They are our servants, and they need to learn that. You need to vote for principled people instead of some damned personality because you recognize their face, or you go to church with them, or your kids play baseball with their kids. Okay? This is the days of that crap are done. That's why we have those people up there like, Miss Albus and her cute little hats who, her claim to fame is beautify Abilene. That's throwing good money after bad. We can beautify Abilene ourselves by picking up our own garbage. We don't have to pay taxes for that crap. We don't need to be paying for a hotel downtown. We don't need to be paying for a nature walk next to a dry creek bed. If somebody wants that, let them do it themselves. If somebody wants to improve the sports complex next to Kirby Lake, let them raise the money themselves. Start a 501c3 to do it. We don't need our taxes going towards that crap. We need our cops, our fire departments, and our water. That's it. That is all. We don't need libraries. We don't need public parks. We don't need any of those other things. All of that are extras when you get down to the brass tacks. And if you really want to get libertarian, we don't need corporate or government cops and government fire departments. But because most people want that, that's the bare minimum I'm willing to pay for. We don't need all the rest of this crap. You want to borrow a book? Start your own library. You want to go to a park in your neighborhood? Get together with your neighbors keeping the park up. It's just nature, folks. Keep it up. You don't have to have a building in the park. This is getting ridiculous. So I'm done. I've gone over 30 minutes by a long shot. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.